Hey everyone, and welcome back to Dallas Cowboys coverage after another heartbreaking loss at Lambeau. Just such a frustrating game, but I'm going to go all over it, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's get started. So first, I want to start with Dak Prescott because I think he's really at the core of this one. So it was a rough first half. Those two bad interceptions. There was some miscommunication with both Schultz and CeeDee Lamb, and it's just frustrating on those because I'm not going to say it was completely his fault, all on him, but if you're the quarterback and you're an elite quarterback, you got to be able to diagnose those plays. Sometimes your guy's going to run the wrong route, but you have to be able to adjust. You have to be able to think quickly and be okay. I'm not going to throw it in a window that tight when I see the tight end's running too high, or the receiver's not running flat straight enough. It's just those little things that I think you just got to be able to diagnose. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's just things you got to do. And it's frustrating. It led to two touchdowns for the Packers, and that was obviously a huge difference in the game. But he was able to rebound. He had a good second half. He got the Cowboys offense to a point where you're leading 28-14 going into the fourth quarter. Historically, 195-0, that should be enough, but unfortunately it's the Packers at Lambeau, Aaron Rodgers on the other side, and you guys know the rest. So just frustrating there. There's been a lot of controversy and talk around Dak, whether he's the franchise quarterback, he's the guy. So it's an interesting question, and I still believe he is. I've seen enough from him to show, the greatness that he has and the array of talent there is there. But it's been a rough year so far. Already 4 interceptions in just, 4 games. Not even really, and it's been a little bit rough. It looked like he was kind of getting back on track after the Lions and Bears. This one just sort of wasn't great. And again, it's not that he's been bad. He's just been inconsistent. He hasn't been that solidifier that the Cowboys have been hoping he would coming back. He's been better than Cooper Rush. Don't start with that, but there's definitely still quite a bit to be desired from Dak Prescott, especially this season. So let me know if you have your confidence level in Dak, scale it 0 to 100, and if you think he is indeed the future of this team, and if whether or not he can lead this team to the promised land. So let me know. I still think he can, but a lot of opinions out there, and I want to hear yours. So moving on from Dak, CeeDee Lamb, man, he had an incredible game. I have the 88 jersey, but it's just he's really, I mean, by leaps and bounds improved so far this season. I thought he was honestly a little bit overrated coming in. Everyone kind of already crowning him as a top 10 wide receiver, but there's, like Dak, still quite a bit to be desired, I think, coming in. There were some untimely drops and just more inconsistencies around CeeDee Lamb. But man, this was his breakout game. My player of the game, unquestionably. 11 receptions, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He just looked great. Even aside from a few miscommunication on those early routes, he was just really, really solid. Perfect, almost. But he's just really, really improved as the seasons went on. And I think that pretty soon he will reach that potential that we've been expecting, that I was expecting coming out of Oklahoma. I was ecstatic when they were able to draft CeeDee Lamb. I was so excited. And he hasn't quite gotten to the Justin Jefferson level, but, keep in mind not many have, but I still think he has the potential to really, really be good. He's, I think, 10th in receiving right now, which is really even better than I thought. Already has over 700 yards on the season, so he's really had his best year so far, and I think he will only continue to improve, as he continues to have Dak healthy, and if you can put someone else around him, OBJ, I think that'd be huge for him and the rest of this offense. So great game out of CeeDee Lamb. Also great game out of Tony Pollard. For the second straight game, he has been over 100 yards. This time I think 115-ish plus a touchdown. That's incredible. Zeke hasn't been over 100 yards in, over a year, and now Pollard in back-to-back games starting does it. he's proved himself, and he has proved he is a better runner. I love Zeke so much, and he'll continue to play, and once he's healthy, be a big part of this offense because the dynamic between them, the power and the speed, it's a dynamic duo, and it's two players on this offense, this unit that I'm really happy with how they performed this season. Zeke's been really good. I think it's been one of his better years, obviously since his prime years, but Pollard's just been incredible. He's the best runner on this team. The explosiveness, the speed, the quickness, the agility, it's unmatched. And he deserves all the carries he's getting. And even when Zeke is healthy, I still think that you got to give Pollard, more, the majority really of the rushing attempts. Zeke will be out there, especially in pass blocking, power run situations, change, of pace. I just think that Pollard has earned the starting gig, and while he won't get the label, he needs more carries. And if this hasn't proved that he is capable of being the number one running back, every down, I don't know what's going to prove it to you. He's been awesome. Even Malik Davis, I want to give a quick shout out to. He was kind of the change of pace guy, came in every once, especially in the second half, to just take some of the load off Pollard, and he had some big time runs. That some even that were called back later is frustrating, but he really, really looked good in a short sample size. But he's really done a good job replacing Rico Dowdle, undrafted free agent. All of a sudden, you're running back too, and he's really taken advantage of the opportunity. So shout out to him. Michael Gallup had a solid game. I think one of his better ones since coming back. But again, there's just been, like I've been saying, a lot still yet to be desired. Still, Michael Gallup just hasn't quite looked, not like himself, but exactly the same since coming back. He's just been seemingly a little slower. It's been a little tougher to get open for him, and it's just something that, I hope he can continue to improve upon because he's your wide receiver 2 right now, and he's been playing more like 3, I'd say. Jalen Tolbert, it's been rough. I mean, that was the first time in a long, long time that I've seen offsides, or is that what they call it? Or did they do the motion? It was offsides, yeah. Offsides on the offense, and it's frustrating, he's just clearly not ready. A smaller school rookie receiver. To me, I saw a lot of Michael Gallup comparison. That was kind of my comp, just small school, 3rd round pick, but it's been rough going, and I think he's still young, he's still developing. I'm not trying to rule him as a bust yet, but it's been tough, and he does not deserve to be on the field at this point. So it's just, I hope he continue to improve, but it's been tough. To me, you just need help. If you want this offense to get to its full potential and really going again, you just need help. Bring in Odell Beckham Jr. I'm begging you, Cowboys, please make the move. They've been long criticized for not making the moves when necessary. This one is absolutely necessary. It's in OBJ's court now, but you got to just do everything you can. Don't cheapen out. Don't turn away because he doesn't take $5 million for 1 year. Seriously, go all in here. If all in means getting Odell Beckham Jr., better than nothing. Just please. So let me know, how much do you want Odell Beckham Jr.? I assume there's going to be a lot of yeses, but let me know. Do you want him? How much do you want him? And, what's your hope that the Cowboys actually get the deal done? Let me know in the comments, and sheesh, I hope so. So, continuing, Dalton Schultz had another great game, had the touchdown. To me, he has proved that he is a product of the Dak Prescott, really. I mean, he disappeared with Cooper Rush. He's been back with Dak. To me, he's a slightly above average tight end. I think he's productive with a good quarterback. So, I don't think a lot of it's on him. I just think he's usually in the right place, and Dak finds him. So, credit to him, but it's definitely going to be interesting when it comes to his contract in the offseason because Dak has once again proved he is making an average player into a good player based on his skill set. So we'll see what happens with him, but good job by Dalton Schultz. The offensive line was not quite as good as it's been in previous games, but I think it's still really done a pretty good job overall. So, not much hate on their part. I think they really done a good job under tough situations. So shout out to them. Zack Martin, good as always. Terrence Steele's continued to develop. Same with Tyler Smith. So they'll keep working, but they've been pretty good, pretty good. So the defense is the one strange part. For the first 8 weeks of the season, it's been nothing but praise for the defense. I think the one caveat has just been defending on the run. How do we feel about that? And how much of a liability is it? And over these past few games, it's proved to be one, and it has proved that this defense is not perfect. I still think it's a Super Bowl caliber defense. It's definitely one of the best pass rushers I've ever seen on a Cowboys team. But the Packers neutralized you. They effectively shut down the pass rush. They pounded the ball all day. It was frustrating because once Aaron Rodgers dropped back, there was pressure. DeMarcus Lawrence had a great game, by the way. He's not included in this. He was doing a good job stopping the run, and he had that huge forced fumble on Aaron Rodgers. Great game out of DeMarcus Lawrence. He continues to be so underrated, but so good for this Cowboys team. But you've been exposed, those outside runs, those wherever they're running it, really, whether it's Aaron Jones on the outside, A.J. Dillon up the gut. It's been rough. I mean, your defensive tackles are not the best. Osa's been developing, and your exterior defensive linemen, other than DeMarcus Lawrence, have just had trouble stopping the run. Micah Parsons, obviously, not as productive on the stat sheet, still had a very good game. You just got to realize he only had maybe 9 pass rush snaps. He was mostly subbing in at linebacker for the injured Anthony Barr and Leighton Vander at points in the game. So, not too upset about that. They were putting him where they thought he needed to be in terms of injuries and stopping the run. So he didn't really get as many opportunities pass rushing. He still played a good game, I thought. But it was just frustrating because, Sam Williams, he got home. When Aaron Rodgers was dropping back, we were putting pressure, but he had maybe 9 completions going into the fourth quarter. They committed to the run and they got it done. And then, it opened up to play action, and then all of a sudden you have Christian Watson looking like Randy Moss against you. And it was frustrating. The cornerbacks were terrible. Diggs, great, shut down. He didn't allow anything. Only 1 target, no completions. But Anthony Brown just gets burned on a route, falls down, smacks his head on the turf. He's out with a concussion. Anthony Brown, not the best, but you need him. He doesn't deserve all the hate that he gets. He's not the best. I'm not going to try to defend him. He's, average at best, but he's better than Kelvin Joseph, and he's better than Deron Bland. Deron Bland was also absolutely burned in the slot. Christian Watson's speed just ran right past him. Kelvin Joseph is just lost out there. He's a great special teamer, but that is not what you drafted him in the second round to be. And it's just been frustrating seeing him not develop. And, Nashawn Wright hasn't even been able to see the field. To me, one of your number one priorities going into the offseason is get a number 2 corner. You need one. You have Diggs number 1, unquestionably, but Jordan Lewis goes down, and all of a sudden Anthony Brown goes down, and you have 2 basically rookies, and it's rough. The depth isn't there, but you need a starter. You need a true number 2. Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis are great slot cornerbacks, number 3s, but you need a second good cornerback, and it really showed, especially in this game without Anthony Brown, how much of a need that is. So that's something I hope the Cowboys will really take some time, reinvest in. It's frustrated, especially spending 2 day 2 picks that have not panned out whatsoever. It's frustrating, but you just got to do something else to address this. The safeties have been playing really well this season. Malik Hooker was just not in the right places today. Donovan Wilson looked like he was sort of getting chased. He was sort of on his heels all game. Didn't have the best game from him. Jaron Kearse, I'd have to look back at it. I thought was okay, but it was just really a unusually average game for the defense. The Packers they have our number, and they found our fatal flaw. That's run defense. The Eagles had the same issue against the Commanders, man. The one thing that made me feel better was the fact that the Eagles lost. So type down in the comments, just congratulations. Type Heineke. Thank you, Commanders. You helped us out a little. I don't think you win the division at this point. I think the Eagles probably have that taken care of, but who knows? After a game like that, you never know. So the Commanders, thank you. Just made me feel a little better. So, back to the Cowboys. It's just, I don't know exactly what you need to do at this point. There's been shout outs of Ndamukong Suh. I don't know how much that helps you. I don't know if I want to bring him into that locker room, really. It's just, you're at a rough spot. Dan Quinn, I trust him. Wasn't the best showing over these past few weeks, but I still trust him to get it together. He's done a great job with the defense, but the run defense it's been a fatal flaw. It's been an issue. So I don't know exactly what the solution is. There's no one really that you can go out and sign and be like, he's gonna fix this. You brought in Jonathan Hankins, maybe he's helped a little on the interior, but it's still a problem, and it's going to continue to be a huge storyline and a huge topic of discussion as we continue to roll along, especially towards the playoffs. So your pass rush can make up for it. You can create turnovers, and that you've been doing it all year. But if you have a team that can commit to running the ball all game on you, it's going to be trouble for the defense. So we will see, especially against a lot of good running backs coming up: Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, Dameon Pierce, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry. You have a lot of challenges. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this defense can respond, because you have a challenge at running back every single game. And it's going to be up to the team. Can they make the adjustments? Can they defend the run? And that's going to be the number one thing I'm looking for. See if they can improve on that. And if they can, your defense is back. And even if they can't, you still have a great defense. I don't want to take anything away from them, especially the pass rush. It's just, you were exposed. You had cornerback secondary injuries. You weren't able to rush the passer. The Packers they tore us apart. And I hope that the defense can put itself together, get past this loss, and look forward to the Vikings game, because, as frustrating as it was, you choked this game. As much as Dak struggled, the defense, the run support struggled. I can't say that any of those reasons are the reason you lost the game. Honestly, you choked. I mean, you are previously 195-0, leading 14 plus going into the fourth quarter, and you blew that lead. To me, you choked. I mean, there's a lot of things that went wrong. But Dak Prescott, I wouldn't say he's the reason you lost the game. I mean, he was, if it weren't for those 2 interceptions, I think you probably win the game. So from that standpoint, but, if the defense had stopped the run, you probably would have won the game too. I mean, there's just so many little nitpicky things. Maybe if CeeDee Lamb if he gets that penalty, you win the game. But to me, you just got to take accountability overall. Dak said it himself. McCarthy tried to sort of make some excuses over the calls, and there were some bad calls, but that's not the reason you lost the game. Dak Prescott, he had some bad interceptions, but that's not the reason you lost the game. The defense could not stop the run, and the coverage was awful, but that's still not the reason you lost the game. You lost this game as a team. It all came together. When you choke, that means everyone is at fault, one way or another. To me, there were a lot of things that went wrong, but you still shouldn't have lost this game. Dak was bad at first. He rebounded. When you're up by this margin, there's no reason you shouldn't win. And, that's it. There's a lot of things that went wrong. The offense just couldn't produce after the third quarter. The defense struggled after the third quarter. It all just combined. So there's not one thing I can point to. So let me know if there is for you, your number one thing that went wrong, why we lost the game. But to me, it was a group effort. Some things didn't go your way. You struggled at times. It all came together for a horrible but usual Lambeau Field experience for the Cowboys. It was tough. It was horrible. It was heartbreaking. I think one of the most just leaves that bitter taste in your mouth type of losses, but you got to put it aside. You lost. It's frustrating. Move on to the next, because you have a tough opponent coming up in the Vikings. 8-1 now, just beat the Bills in an incredible game of the year type of game. I mean, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, you have great receivers on this team. You got burned by Christian Watson. I'm concerned. But to me, it feels like a comeback game. The Cowboys always do good against the Vikings, and this time you have Dak for it. So I still have confidence, but I just think you got to put this game aside. As heartbreaking and as frustrating as it was, put it aside. I think there's been a lot of overreaction to this, and it's frustrating, I know, and especially since the Packers. But you lost one game, okay? The season's not over. This team isn't just bad all of a sudden. You're 6-3. You're sitting pretty at the 6th seed. I think you can still pass the Giants. I think you'll beat them on Thanksgiving. Don't give up on the year, okay? I don't know if this is a Super Bowl team. They've been pulling me back and forth. I don't know. But for now, just focus on the next. Don't worry about that. Focus on the Vikings. And then after that, focus on the Giants. You still have a very good team in a very weak conference. I still think that you have the potential to be, I think you're the third best team right now, still in this conference. It's that bad, really. And it's the Vikings and it's the Eagles ahead of you. You have both of them on your schedule. Prove it. Prove that you're better. Go out and beat these teams. Beat the competition. Beat the teams that you're not supposed to beat, that everyone's doubting you'll beat. Get it done. And if that happens, then you're a Super Bowl contender. If it doesn't, you still have work to do. So for me, it's just, there's a lot still to be done. And there's a lot that I can talk about, a lot of flaws on this team, but I'm not going to do that right now because there's not much you can do. Sign Odell, and we'll see where you're at after that. Don't worry about, as a team, don't stress on everything, every nitpicky flaw that's on this team, because every football team has flaws. Have you seen the Bills? They're 6-3 too. You just gotta focus on what you can control. Look at the flaws, look at the weaknesses, and improve them. And then who knows? But you can make some noise in the playoffs. I'm not giving up on this team. I'm not gonna say they're perfect because they're not. No team is. But to me, you just gotta look at the imperfections and improve them, and look at the things you do well and pound them, nail them, get all that right. I've seen the offense be great. I've seen the defense be great. I've seen special teams be incredible. Just do it on the same day, please. It feels like, if the defense is good, the offense is bad. If the offense is good, the defense struggles. It's just, if you want to win a Super Bowl, if you want to be a great team, it's all got to happen every given night. And you're going to have those off nights. You're going to have off games, but it's got to come together when it matters. It's got to come together in the biggest moments, and the biggest moments is the playoffs, and that's where the Cowboys have had trouble for the last 25 years, really. I mean, since that last Super Bowl. You have so much potential on this team, and you still have a lot of room to improve, to fix things, to get players. It's just a matter of, are you going to be all in? Is this organization going to be all in? Are the coaches, are the players going to be all in to fix these flaws and to be the best team they can be? And that remains to be seen. It'll be interesting, but I still have faith in this team. Go out, prove it against the Vikings. Get it done. And, I hope they can do it. So, let me know. Let me know if you think they can beat Minnesota. I think they can. Just go out. Prove it to me. Prove it to the world that you are for real. And there's no better time to do it than knock off the Minnesota Vikings. So I hope they can get that done. And that's about it for this game. There's a lot to talk about, and I know there's still a lot of you guys, I'm sure, in your head. So let me know in the comments. Again, feel free to like the video, subscribe if you enjoyed. And real quick before we get out of here, I just want to talk about some of the free agency moves. Yeah, sorry this was a little bit later of a video, but I'm glad I'm able to get all this in. So I just wanted to talk about that briefly. A lot of practice squad movement. So first of all, you have released Mika Tafua. The Cowboys have released Mika Tafua from the practice squad. He sort of bounced around. He was released earlier and then brought back, and now he's released again. So flash in the preseason, but he has been released. Alec Lindstrom has been placed on the practice squad injured reserve list. So he's out for, at least 4 weeks. I don't know exactly how long that's going to be. Just now you have 18 guys on the practice squad. So he'll be back when he's ready. And the big signings, big signings, not Odell, but pretty solid, significant signings. The smallest one being Brock Hoffman, just a undrafted rookie center. He'll basically replace Alec Lindstrom. But then you brought in Antonio Callaway, wide receiver, fourth round pick a couple years ago, flashed with the Browns early in his career. There was some off the field stuff, some substance abuse issues, injuries, and it's just been sort of tough for him to see the field. But I think a good player, fast player, sort of explosive, still young. I think he's only like maybe 25. So I think a solid pickup, at least put some pressure on the heels of Jalen Tolbert, don't line up off sides. So I think a solid signing, on the practice squad. Maybe he gets elevated, maybe he makes a little bit of an impact. And, cool. For me, I think that's an upgrade, one of your better practice squad players, and maybe your best practice squad player. Takk McKinney was signed. He worked out around training camp. This is a definite Dan Quinn signing. Obviously, he drafted Takk McKinney with the Falcons back in the 2017 draft, just a couple picks before the Cowboys would draft Taco Charlton. The Cowboys had a lot of interest in McKinney, probably would have been the pick if he was still on the board. So, comes full circle with Dan Quinn and the Cowboys. He's in here, and I think that's just, that's cool for me. I like him as a backup depth rotational piece. If for some reason you see another injury on the defensive line, I think he can fill in pretty easily. So, great practice squad signing. To me, that's what the practice squad is for quality players that you can elevate if needed. But, at the end, their depth. Don't worry about it being Odell. I know these aren't the former Browns and Rams players that you wanted to be seeing on this team, but I think good depth options nonetheless. I think good pickups, but your job's not done. Please, Odell Beckham Jr., please bring him here. The rumor has it that he's sort of down to 5 teams. I think it was the Cowboys, Giants, Bills. I'm not sure the other two. Sorry about that. 49ers? Was that one of them? I'm not sure. But the recent rumors have sort of been it's kind of between the Cowboys and going back to New York and the Giants. New York's cold, okay? I mean, if you heard about the Buffalo game, they're supposed to get 42 to 72 inches of snow. I mean, insane. Someone said that's taller than Kyler Murray. It made me laugh because it is. 72 is 6 feet. And it's crazy. I mean, that's insane. And come on, Odell, you don't want to be up there in the cold. I know that's Buffalo, but still, they traded you. Remember that? Come here. The warm, roofed stadium. Please, Odell Beckham Jr., come to Dallas. You'll be appreciated here. You'll be utilized here, and we need you. So, that's it for me. Thanks again for watching. It's going to be a huge game next week, so I'll have another video, of course, breaking it down. Hopefully, after a win, it'll be a happier video. And so thanks again for watching. And that's about it for me. Again, Odell Beckham Jr., please. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.